Hey, Bob Cooney here. I am beyond thrilled to be moderating a panel of three of the most creative and leading executives in the amusement industry. I want to introduce David McKillips, who's the CEO of CEC Entertainment, parent company of Chuck E. Cheese. Fernando Eiroa, who's the CEO of Circustrix, and Brent Bushnell, who's the CEO and co-founder of 2-Bit Circus. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Bob.
How are you?
Thanks for having us.
My extreme pleasure. So let's do, Brent, let's start with you, because I know not everybody knows 2-Bit Circus. And so just give us kind of a quick elevator pitch.
Sure. So my background's engineering. My co-founders are roboticists. We're a big band of nerds that were building attractions for brands for a number of years, always focused on out of home. A couple of years ago, after doing our own traveling carnival and installations all over the world, we opened what we call a micro amusement park. It's a 40,000 square foot entertainment complex. The first one's in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. It's got a whole interactive game show theater, a carnival midway, a reimagined arcade, what we call story rooms, sort of our version of escape rooms, full bar and restaurant, a robot bartender, and a ton of other fun.
Awesome. Fernando, tell us a little bit about Circustrix, and we're going to talk a little bit about branding. You got a lot of brands there, but just at its core, what is Circustrix?
Well, Circustrix is the world's largest indoor active entertainment group in the world. We focus on, active entertainment, where people define active entertainment as, when you have to sweat a little bit to enjoy the attractions. And it's very, very different to what I did before, that I come from the theme park, mechanical attractions. And we have 320 something parks open, 3 different brands, and we have a presence in 16 different countries now.
Wow. And David, what's this thing called Chuck E. Cheese? What is that?
Well, Chuck E. Cheese, we've got 2 brands under the umbrella of CEC Entertainment. One is Peter Piper Pizza, which is a brand predominantly in the Southwest United States, as well as Mexico. And then Chuck E. Cheese, which is our flagship brand, over 700 restaurants and family entertainment centers across the world, predominantly in North America, but we've got a great presence in the Middle East and in South America as well. In fact, we have 78 international locations across 18 different countries as well. So we're thrilled to be here. I think a lot of you know Chuck E. Cheese, but we have 4 entertainment areas within our destinations. Of course, it's the restaurant with food and beverage. We're known for our pizza. We've got our arcade, our dance floor, entertainment package, and then of course our gift shop. So you can leave happy, and where every kid can be a kid.
And some adults like me too. So look, let's start with, there's an international audience for this event, and these are 3 kind of American-born brands. What are some of the challenges? I think I want to start with you, Fernando, because you lived in Spain for 3 years and we're with Parque Rionitos, and we'll start with you. What are some of the challenges with taking an American-centric brand into, global markets?
Oh, that's a very good question, because, I have to spend more time in Europe than here in the US. I'm originally from Spain. So when I joined Parque Reunidos, it was a Spanish-based company. And we expanded the group to many other countries. And then we decided to come here to the US when we were large in Europe. And one of the things that I asked the company was that when they appointed me as CEO for the US entities, I asked them, I want to be the only person from Europe, from Spain, coming to the US, because I want to work with local people in the US. So I believe that this is the right decision when you want to have an international expansion. You need to work with local people. And in my experience, and I can have different examples, but I believe that one of the issues that many companies, including American companies, US companies, when they expand, they do not understand very well each of the individual markets where you want to enter when you want to establish the new business. So to me, that is one of the most important challenges that you can find, is to understand local markets, because there are many things that are common to, you know, all markets. I mean, everybody likes a roller coaster, but maybe food is very different. For instance, in Spain or in France, food at the theme park is very different than food at the park here in the US. Or operating hours. I mean, when you open a park in Spain, I mean, people are amazed when we close the parks at 2 a.m. sometimes in summertime, right? And here in the US, that is impossible, or in other countries, right? So those are the small details that can make a huge difference in the successful. I mean, if you want to have a successful start.
Now, David, you spent some time with Six Flags also running their international parks, and now obviously CEC is a global brand. What are you seeing? What are some of the challenges and learnings that you've had there?
Well, I kind of smiled a little bit when Fernando was talking about operating hours, and it is so true. So true. You know, when we were looking at our expansion into the Middle East in terms of shifting our hours, and literally, you know, the malls and a lot of the entertainment areas in the Middle East are very busy in the middle of the night, you know, and it's just something that you wouldn't think about in North America. But, you know, as I onboarded onto CEC, a part of our strategy is to grow the brand all over the world. Right now, I look at us as a strong North American brand with an international division. And we do have a vision to create a global company. And what that means is that, you know, having a strong brand with the ability to have brand consistency throughout the world. So no matter where you're going to see Chuck E. Cheese, whether it could be in Europe or Asia and anywhere in between, that there's some brand consistency. But I do agree that we've got to localize all the aspects. So to make sure that our entertainment is in the local tongue, and that make sure that we're sensitive to introducing new characters as well. They're going to have that appeal to a young generation that may be in China or the Middle East or even South America. So we're doing that, and we'll take that all through. We're talking about the prizes, the entertainment, the food. We want to have brand consistency, but we also want to make sure that we localize so we truly understand who the guest is, and they'll reward us coming back again and again.
And so how do you do that? Like, what's the one thing, if you could give people one advice for moving from one market into another, and they can only do one thing, what would that be?
Brand consistency, number one, I think is the most important, meaning set up your brand guidelines so you can take them anywhere in the country, and then allow yourself the flexibility to localize. And what that means is whether it's a name, whether it's the brand, you know, Chuck E. Cheese, you know, we can take him anywhere. And if we introduce him into a new market and people aren't aware yet who Chuck E. Cheese is, you got to tell the narrative and tell that story in the local language. So I would just make sure that you have your brand consistency. It's fine to localize, it's fine to customize as well, but keep your core brand values the same.
Yeah, cool, thanks. Now, I want to talk about kind of the elephant in the room and the COVID crisis, and it's, you know, don't need to beat a dead horse. Everybody knows what's going on. But I think the thing I want to focus in on are parties and group sales. So parties and group sales are the lifeblood of a profitable family entertainment center. And I know all three of you guys, it's a big part of your business. Brent, let's start with you. I know, talk about what it was like before you guys shut down, and what have you done during the shutdown? Because you're still closed, right?
We are still closed. Yeah, California has been very slow to reopen. It has been, I got to say, a real disappointment, frankly, because a lot of the states that, you know, set out a set of guidelines and said, you have to operate to these guidelines, and if you don't, we'll take your health permit away. And instead, California broke it up into groups and said, okay, movie theaters are not allowed, or mini golf is allowed. They sort of were very specific about categories, which for me kills innovation, right? You allow people the set of rules, allow them to you know, innovate to match them. But so we've been closed since March. But what it did force us to do is start going online. So we built our 100-seat interactive game show theater, you know, is a theater for interactive shows. We extended that out onto the web and have been running tons of shows now. It's a whole variety game show. You play in the browser. There's a live streamed host, and then you've got a leaderboard and chat and you know, all the different challenges. And it's really a toolbox for creating game shows. And we're working on a kind of a bachelorette meets speed dating, dating show, and you know, a few others that are going to be a lot of fun.
And so how are you, and how are you finding that as far as, because I know you've been working with corporations and actually running group remote events, and with everybody working from home, companies are really desperate right now to find a way to keep their employees connected and engaged. So how is that changing your business, and how will that continue to evolve after you guys get open again?
Yeah, great question. We really didn't want a cul-de-sac. We wanted we wanted to build something that we knew we were going to want afterwards. And I think, we are stuck with viruses, and really accommodating at risk is going to be a new, just like you would have, ADA ramps, having an opportunity for virtual is important. And, I threw a virtual event last night that had a physical component. People could come physically, or they could, opt to just stay virtually. And I think making those accommodations is going to be something that will extend far after the end of the pandemic.
Yeah, cool. Fernando, I know birthday parties are a massive part of your business at Circustrix. What are some of the learnings that you guys have had? How are you getting people comfortable families booking birthday parties and coming back? And what are some of the challenges there?
Yeah, let me tell you something first, because when we had all parks closed, that we had, all parks closed for months, right? We came, and the team came with, SkyZone team came with a very good idea, and we started offering online birthday parties, right? So that worked very, very, very well. I mean, that we have, a request of thousands of people requesting online birthday parties, because families, they didn't know what to do with children, right? I mean, you are in your house with 2 or 3 children, and it was a difficult time for everybody. But to me and for the company, one of the things that we believed it was the most important is to make sure that families felt comfortable and safe coming back to the parks. I mean, we have reopened many parks, many different states. And one of the key message that we are sending them is everything we are doing in order to keep the parks safe. And I believe that everything that you can do in that regard, I mean, in communicating with our customers is key for them to feel comfortable. I mean, share with them everything that we are doing, the temperature check, cashless payments, wearing masks where requested, antiviral system and ozone machines that we have, to clean the parks, flexible rescheduling. I mean, if they schedule a party and they feel for whatever reason they don't feel comfortable, we are open and we help them to reschedule that. All these little things, I mean, adding all together and communicating in the right way to customers, I believe is key for us and for families.
Yeah, cool. David, what are you, I know Chuck E. Cheese birthday parties they're synonymous. What are you guys doing? And one of the things I've heard from operators is there's this fear that parents are afraid to invite their kids' friends to birthday parties for this like potential shaming of other parents. How dare you, have a birthday party? And are you guys seeing any of that? And if so, how do you address it? And what are you doing?
Well, look, there's no doubt this has been the toughest time for our company in its 43-year history. We host more birthday parties than any other company in the world. We're known for birthday parties, and we put birthday parties on hold. We had we had all of our restaurants closed in mid-March. We just started reopening locations in mid-June. We only have 300 locations open up right now, and only about half of our international locations open up. We are taking it slowly as it relates to parties. There's a couple things that we did. Fernando and Brent, I compliment you on your comments. We're doing the same things. I'm so proud of our industry, the attractions industry, both the FECs and theme parks. have taken such responsibility to ensure that our guests and employees feel safe either when they're coming to work or when our guests are making a visit. And we're doing everything that we can. We're doing a lot of the things that Fernando mentioned. We've even gone so far as to replace all of our air filters with, hospital grade quality air filter system. And I know a lot of us in the space are doing that. So that's number one. Now, regarding our birthday parties, here's what we did. Number one, anyone who wanted to cancel, we had no cancellation policy whatsoever. So there was no, we'd refund or give you a gift card for your future use. So that was taking care of our guests. Now, two, we do know that families as a unit would feel comfortable, and the guidelines are allowing families to get together and celebrate in their close-knit circle. So what we did is we allocated 2 hours in the morning, generally from 8 to 10 a.m., and then 2 hours in the evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., where your family could actually buy out the restaurant and have a VIP party with just those that you were comfortable around. So that was one offering that we presented to our guests. And we are only taking, we have several waves throughout the day that we take parties. And it's on a Saturday or Sunday, we are sold out basically. And right now, we're only taking one party per wave. The guidelines are as such in most of the states in North America and in our locations around the world that we're only taking anywhere between 6 and 10 people within that wave or at one particular table. And then we're spacing them out as well. So, we know the party business is a very sensitive one right now. We are just as sensitive about hosting too many folks, so we follow the guidelines. The business will come back when people are ready to come back and when the guidelines loosen up and we all feel comfortable. So right now we're just kind of slow rolling that, and our birthday business and special event business is obviously suffering. It's way down, but we think it'll come back when people feel comfortable to come back.
And I do think the opportunity for folks to opt in, maybe addresses, Bob, what you were saying about, the potential for ire from, friends or family or, whatever, that if your event says, hey, some can come live, but we have this virtual option, you've accommodated sort of both sides, my hope.
Yeah. And let's talk about the hybrid event thing, right? I mean, the event business was $1 trillion business that went to zero overnight. And most people in the physical event business say that hybrid events are the future, that every trade show, for example, will have a virtual component going forward. How are you viewing the hybrid events? I know, David, you've got a big event coming up for Halloween. Talk about that a little bit. And then Brent, I want you to chime in as well.
Sure. We're actually, we're super excited. So we had within our strategic business plan this year to unveil the largest Halloween event in our demographic segment called Chuck E. Cheese's Halloween Bootacular. So a completely immersive experience where we're gonna retheme our restaurants and bring in new content and have trick-or-treating stations and dance parties and a fully immersive new limited time offer menu with pumpkin-shaped pizzas and bootacular brownies and all kinds of fun things. And as we shut down the restaurants and now we're reopening, we had to rethink everything. So you're 100% correct. We had to have an experience that kids feel and moms especially feel safe to come to our event, but we also had to complement the physical event with a virtual event. So everything that we're doing, we are doing twofold, meaning we're going to be able to deliver that experience at home through carryout or delivery. We're going to have Friday and Saturday night glow parties. So we've got that same glow party material and all of that content now featured online that can be delivered right to your home. We have touchless trick-or-treating, and how are we going to do that? We're actually going to use tongs from moving candy from the candy basket into the kids' trick-or-treat bag. So this is forcing us all to think creatively. And what I think I'd like to acknowledge our entertainment team, because we challenge them to say, our entertainment system, we've got dance floors in some of our locations, and it complements our animatronics that we have in some areas. Kids love to come in, they love to dance and have fun. We actually wrote into the entertainment scripts on the introductions that you gotta stand 6 feet away. It's really fun. We have this bootastic Halloween dance that kids are gonna be able to participate, but it's all reinforcing social distancing. Our actors have on masks, and we're reinforcing all of the safety guidelines. So when you come to our location, it's going to be clean, it's going to be safe. If you're not comfortable yet coming out for Halloween, we're going to be able to deliver it to your house. But it's just a new way of thinking. We've been forced to think that way, just like these other gentlemen. They're great brands as well.
And David, I love that you mentioned the home delivery stuff, because I feel like one of the things that LBE has is that physicality, which is so powerful. And even if you're at home, having a box of goodies, little toys, some food. I don't know if you guys ever played Speak Out.
No game where you have to do this and you have to try to understand what I'm saying.
But this is a 50-cent dental retractor, and makes for a ridiculous game over Zoom with people.
That's awesome. Fernando, as far as home delivery, I want to stay on the home delivery thing, but I'm going to start with you. You guys provide like a really active experience for your patrons, and this notion of healthy, active entertainment is one of your brand pillars for the company. Like, this has got to be an especially challenging time with social distancing, and how are you addressing that? Is there a way to extend this? I know you did virtual birthday parties. How do you extend this into the home at some point?
Yeah, we have different projects in the company to try to adapt to the new normal, if you want, right? And some of the projects is mobile parks that we are planning, and pop-up attractions and things like that hopefully very soon we will be announcing, and we believe it's going to be a very cool opportunity to get in contact with families and smaller groups. I mean, so people, they don't need to come to the park. We will come to houses or schools or whatever, for the events.
Wow, that's amazing. There's been a lot of talk about location-based entertainment, and location is being redefined to include the home. And much of the research suggests that's not going to change. Like, the cocooning thing accelerated, and it's going to continue. And so I love what you guys are doing. And so let's talk about home delivery. David, you guys had an interesting experience with Pasquale Pie Plate going off and creating his own little side venture. What did you guys? How did that go? I know there was a little bit of social media backlash. How did you respond to that? And what have you learned from that whole experience around home delivery of pizza and a ghost kitchen?
Yeah, our team, as part of our innovative approach to the business, prior to COVID and prior to the pandemic shutting us down, we had always looked at utilizing the fixed costs of our kitchen and our labor of, how can we maximize the opportunity within the traditional food and beverage area. We have over 500 locations in the United States alone. How can we maximize that? So we looked at a separate menu offering within a virtual kitchen, because Chuck E. Cheese is not in the consideration set for your traditional pizza consumer, right? We're just not, right? We're thought about as a destination for your families, and pizza happens to be the component. The majority of our revenue is coming from gaming and parties anyway, and food and beverage is secondary to that. So people come to play, and then they eat while they're here. We have a great food menu array, and we wanted to bring that out to everybody, but we knew we couldn't do it just under the Chuck E. Cheese banner. So we strategically looked at launching a virtual kitchen. Now, this was just happened to be right at the time that there was a lot of traffic and publicity around small businesses and some of the SBA loans that were issued to some of the larger companies. And I think that was, we got caught in the fray in terms of people ordering a brand new virtual kitchen, which we were really on the forefront of what now many of the big food and beverage companies have followed. And there was some confusion in the marketplace of, wait, is this Chuck E. Cheese pizza or is this something different? So we had to clear that up, tell our story the right way. We've relaunched Pasquale's and Wings. It is a great product. It's a different product, right? It's got more sauce. It's got different cheese blend. It's got 7 Italian seasonings on there. It's what we call it's a bolder pizza with a grown-up taste, right? And it's been successful for us. It was a way we could pivot a little bit and get into the consumer mindset with a new product. So we're using our character Pasquale. You know, he's part of Munch's Make Believe band, and he's from Italy, and he knows all about pizza making. So we wanted to use the trademark that we already own, bring a great, delicious pizza and wing portfolio to a new set of consumers, and since then it's been very well received. But it is a different product.
Yeah,
You know,
and I think,
David,
go
right
ahead, Brent.
Oh, quick interjection. Right as the pandemic hit, this thing, did you hear about vampire.pizza? And it was literally like an escape, a home delivered escape room together with a pizza. My wife and I sat down and opened up the box, and while we sat there and had dinner, there was this sort of unfolding adventure. And they launched really fast on the back of the pandemic. But I loved this idea of an immersive experience delivered to your home. And it was really, it was a lot of fun.
And I think we're going to see more and more of that. And the whole ghost kitchen thing now is blowing up as a business model. And, you know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that most people don't know about. And so, you know, David, kudos to you and your team for being brave and innovative enough to do it, and then how you navigated it and stayed authentic to the brand, and you know, and Pasquale was part of the brand all along. So anybody who might have said you were trying to be, you know, deceitful or something, like, you just call bullshit on that immediately, because, you know, he's built into the Chuck E. Cheese brand. I thought it was brilliant.
Thank you.
So let's talk about real estate. You guys are all in the real estate business. David, Fernando, I know you guys have a lot of stuff there. Brent, you were on a global mission to expand 2-Bit Circus. What's happening in the real estate landscape right now with COVID? How are landlords reacting? You know, I know there's all kinds of stuff is like, where's the economic fallout going to trickle down to, right? I mean, we can't afford to pay rent because we're not open for business, and then the landlords have to pay loans, and the loans have to pay, you know, the blah, blah. David, let's start with you, because you guys are doing a restructuring. What's the landscape like right now?
Sure. You know, so as you mentioned, we are working on a capital restructuring right now, and we have hundreds of landlords, large, small, some in rural locations with one store, and then some we've got multiple locations as well. I won't get into the details of the financial aspect, but what I will say is that, you know, we have been a leaseholder for many years in our locations, and we've been in business for 43 years, and a lot of those locations remain the same. So we've got terrific relationships. We've seen ebbs and flows in the economies. But right now, we've had to sit down with all landlords and explain our situation and say, here's where we're at. This is really tough on our business. You know, how can we defer? How can we abate? How can we work with you? Because right now, this is such a tough time. We're trying to keep our folks employed, as many as possible, and we certainly need some relief. So there's ongoing discussions there, and I think that you know, as the business model and as the business returns, we'll be able to look at a long partnership with these landlords.
What percentage of them are receptive and understanding, and what percentage of them are read the lease, send me a check?
Well, I won't get into any details. There's ongoing negotiations right now with virtually all of our landlords, and you know, we understand their position, and they certainly understand ours as well. You know, Chuck E. Cheese, like some of the other gentlemen here, you know, we are a destination in a lot of the areas that we're at. We're the anchor in a strip mall, or where we have a standalone location that brings a lot of traffic in, that really helps their other leaseholders as well. So yeah. I wouldn't give you a finite number of who's cooperating, who's not. I will say globally, you know, there's a lot of active discussions going on, and we hope to resolve those. And we understand that there's a long-term relationship here.
Yeah, thanks. Fernando, I know a lot of your locations are franchise owned. And so, you know, in some ways you're a step removed. What role are you playing in helping your franchisees manage those real estate commitments, and what are you seeing out there from just not specifically, but just as a landscape? What's the attitude been, and how are you handling that?
Yeah, it is very similar to what David described. You know, we have, you know, in general, a good relationship with our landlords, and they all understand, I mean, that this is not anybody's fault, right? I mean, this is something that is affecting, not only entertainment, but restaurants, retail, and not only here in the US, but, all over the world, So this is a very difficult situation for them, for us, for everybody. I mean, for banks, for everybody, right? But so far, I mean, we have, open discussions with them. We want to be, open with our landlords. We tell them about our plans. We believe that we have, when we get onto the other side of this crisis, right? We have a very good future together. We have been, and very, very good, tenants, right, for them. And same thing. I mean, we many locations. We are anchor for that location, so we generate a lot of traffic to the to the malls or to the area. And so far, I mean, most of them, they understand. I mean, as always, I mean, you have people that is more understanding, some others more difficult, but that's part of the game. And the thing is that we are all in the same boat here. So it's nothing that we have done wrong. I mean, it's something is affecting everyone.
It's really good to hear that, because I think the media tends to focus on the edge cases, right? And so you hear these stories of, landlord-tenant disputes and things like that. But it's really good to hear from both of you guys that on a whole, it seems like everybody's, being reasonable. And so that's really good news. So Brent, you're on the other side of this rather than managing. Obviously, you've got one big location in a up and coming area of LA, but you were out there negotiating leases, I'm assuming. And so how is this going to affect you, and what are you seeing in the future from a real estate standpoint?
Well, similar to what David and Fernando were saying, these are our anchor tenants, and all the new locations we've looked at, they're excited because we're driving traffic. And I mean, as you mentioned, our site in downtown LA is not exactly has a lot of walk by traffic. We drove all those hundreds of thousands of people down there. And so part of why we went into, that area was to be able to prove in the future to landlords, listen, we're a destination. People want to, make this a place they're going to come to. And so those new landlords, they get it, right? They need that traffic driver more than ever. And so even since the start of the pandemic, the kinds of deals out there have changed dramatically. And, they're willing to get really creative on financing and really aggressive with TI. I think that's really only going to get better.
Yeah, I was in this business growing my laser tag company back in the 90s when we came out of a bit of a real estate recession, and real estate prices in the mid 90s, commercial real estate prices were plummeting, and we took advantage of that, and it created a bit of a boom in the FEC market. And my guess is on the back end of that, we're going to see that happen again. So
yeah, well, I think one of the other things that I'm starting to see happen is, because there's an additional transaction cost to go out in public, right? You maybe feel like there's more risk, or you're not sure. I'm finding, even just myself personally, with more loyalty to places that are doing it well, places that are doing it safely. And so I think that you'll end up with this increased momentum and stickiness to locations that have done a good job, and really increase your repeat visitation for delivering a safe experience.
Yeah, I think the resilience of the industry in this time, and the things that we're being forced to do, are going to pay dividends for decades in consumer trust and brand building, and that's fantastic. Let's shift to technology. Brent, your place is like full of tech. You're tech forward. STEM and STEAM is a big part of your brand. How are you guys using technology to connect with audiences and bring in education in? What are you guys doing there?
It was funny. We just happened to have a $35,000 thermal imaging camera when the pandemic launched. So the very first thing we did when we started reading, really understanding the numbers, was we started pointing that camera, at our employees and staff, and guests, in the few days before we decided that we needed to close. But, the rest of the tech that we've got in there, whether it's, VR, all of our, story room adventures, the technology for us has always been about facilitating, right? Getting people together, but the tech is not the full, the end game. We're really about getting people together, playing, having fun, and hopefully the tech sort of disappears into the background. I think that, the interest in VR and all of these is as big as it ever, has been. We've got now the Oculus Quest #2 just launched. There's so much great content there. I think we're finally starting to, folks are getting aware that VR is something amazing, and that they can do a version at home and they can do the super immersive version, out in public.
Now, David, you guys, in the very early days, the band was a technological marvel, right? The animatronic band, and so how are you guys viewing technology now, and what technology are you high on? What are you adopting today?
Well, we just launched literally a week ago that we are moving from our old paper tickets that would be dispersed based on how many points you generated on a per game basis, which is always the award for the kid. We moved to an e-ticket platform, which is more traditional to some of the FECs right now that you gentlemen probably either use in your areas or in other areas. But that was a big decision for us as a brand, because tickets were a part of our DNA. Now, we still are going to have our ticket blaster, which is the unit that a birthday celebrant can get into, and all the tickets are blowing everywhere and everything. That's going to be really fun for that birthday. But we thought it was the right time to make the investment to go to e-tickets. It's another touchless and contactless experience to help mom feel comfortable about coming to Chuck E. Cheese. And also, it really expedites the operation of the company, meaning, or your experience. At the end of the day, when you're wrapped up and you've been to Chuck E. Cheese for an hour and a half and you're ready to go, no longer are you have to spend 15, 20 minutes at the ticket munchers or ticket eaters, what they call them, and then get to the gift shop. So when you're ready to go, you literally can bring your ticket up. You still have the excitement for the kid in terms of massive amount of points, then you go right to the gift shop, and then you're able to exit, and you leave happy. You're going to come back happy as well. So we're excited about that. There's tremendous cost savings in the future as well, and then there's stored value on the card that our kids can realize every time that they visit. So that was a big part. That was a major shift for our brand. We're going through that right now. Guest response has been absolutely outstanding. So it's cleaner, it's greener, it's faster, and people really like that. So that was one part of the innovation that we just injected into the operation.
And was that primarily driven by the touchless movement behind COVID?
That really expedited our decision, and it was the right thing to do. We talked to our consumers literally every week. We get insights, what their expectations are when they come, and I think the cleaner, greener, faster approach is the right one for today, and the right one for the future.
Yeah, cool. Fernando, so now your parks are, of the three, probably the lowest tech presenting. It's really physical, and it's about physics. You're moving bodies, right?
Yeah, but
how do you guys view tech, and what tech are you considering or implementing in the near future?
So technology is key for us and for me. I mean, I'm a very creative person, and I have, in the theme park when I was there, and now I believe that this is one of the key components for the future of the company. I mean, one of the pillars of our future. So just right before, COVID, affected all of us, we were in the process of developing a state-of-the-art new technology to implement at all our parks and to offer to our franchisees as well. So what we are doing here, and my idea, because when they presented the opportunity of Circustrix to come as CEO of the company, I identified gamification as one of the key components, for the future, again, of the company. So this technology will allow us to add, leaderboards and competition and times and scores and photos and videos and many different things that, again, I mean, we started developing this. We have to stop because of the crisis. But again, I mean, as soon as we can, we will come back to what, we started, I mean, a few months ago. And technology, again, is going to be a key, very important component for us moving forward. I mean, it's very important.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right. So last question. We're all looking for silver linings. I'll stay with you, Fernando. What's the biggest silver lining that you think is coming out, or that's already happened for you and your company in this pandemic?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think that this, this whole pandemic is helping everybody, to rethink the business and come with new ideas and new ways to communicate with our customers, new ways to improve, the experience, the attractions, safety, and everything. So this is, when in the world, when you have in any way, any pandemic or any big issue affecting, the whole world, this is an opportunity for improvement, right? I mean, many times you don't think about things that you are forced to think about when you have a problem like what we have today. And I believe that this is going to help us, everybody to come with new technology, for instance, to come with new experiences, to come with, new opportunities for expansion, to design a hybrid, model of online and at the park entertainment. So, altogether, I believe that this is going to be a boost for new concepts and new experiences in the next years or months from here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, David?
Well, I think when you look at silver linings, there's the business side, and I think there's the personal side. And we look at the personal side of what silver lining came out of this is that everyone is spending more time at home, and the time you have with your family is so important. And we're in the family entertainment business, right? And I think that family entertainment, attractions, theme parks, all of us will benefit in the future because families have appreciated the time that they spend together and make memories. And we're one of those locations outside of the house that you can go and make those memories. So people do miss celebrating their birthdays and having that time together. So I think that you're going to see families who have been together, stay together, want to be together and make memories together. We'll be well positioned as we come out of this. So that's on the personal side of it. I think on the business side, it's been nothing short of just a brutal time period for our entire industry. But we hit the pause button, right? And we pulled forward, as Fernando mentioned, some of the technological advancement that wasn't going to happen for a number of years. We were able to pull that forward. We were able to talk to our guests and understand what is most important to them during this quiet time, so we can revamp, reload, and when they're ready to come back, we'll be ready to greet them, and the business is going to look a little bit differently. And then lastly, we had to become more innovative as an industry. We have been rolling along. We've been adding new attractions, new innovation, or new, we've been expanding the locations and adding maybe new events every single year. We had to think about the business differently. And, we'll come out of this, and I think we'll be more streamlined. And, the goal is to grow the business and be even more profitable in the future. So those are the silver linings coming out of it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Brent?
One of the things as states were reopening that was really interesting to me, a couple of friends with nationwide restaurants said that they were seeing Tuesdays look like Saturdays. And I think that part of this is, now that, as David said, people recognize just how badly they love, and need this social engagement. I think the distinction between weekday and weekend is going to get a little more fluid, and being able to get folks in on what would traditionally been seen as off hours, I think is going to increase. And then, I do completely agree on the personal side. I think, two-bit, very physically focused, the physicality, even from a company development standpoint. We were doing it right there in the park. And we've now really figured out, remote work, and there's some real power there. And we've been able to engage with developers and creatives that we're not co-located with. And, I think it's made our team a lot more efficient in many contexts. So that part I'm really, excited about, and I think it's going to stay well after this.
It's really interesting because, so much of the economics of running a family entertainment or any entertainment business is that 80-20 rule, where you just got to maximize your capacity during such short hours to drive cash flow, and the dissolution of the work week and the workplace. If that spreads that out, even 15 or 20% can have a massive impact on the bottom line of our industry. And that's something I hadn't considered. That's a really good insight. Thanks, Brent. Awesome. Well, parting words from each of you. Brent, we'll just stay with you.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite quotes coming out of this was, sometimes there are decades where nothing happens, and sometimes there are weeks where decades happen. And it's like we have this opportunity to kind of rebuild out of this and do things better, fix the things that have long been broken. Both Dave and Fernando mentioned, this being an accelerant for programs they were already had in the hopper. And so, I urge the whole industry to, innovate. Let's come up with new ways to engage with people, and we are all in this together. Let's provide a really safe experience, and so that folks feel comfortable going back out there and having some fun.
Yeah, thanks, David.
I think we're at a moment in time where communication means more than it has ever had, and we've talked a lot about our guests today and our business, but at the heart and soul of Chuck E. Cheese are our cast members and our team members. And, we have found that they're scared about the pandemic. They're scared about losing their jobs. And the more that we have been communicating to them, the more comfortable they feel. And we've really opened up the books and talked to them and explained about the business and about what we're doing and about how we're investing in the future and what we're doing from a reorganization perspective. We've gone into the restaurants. I've personally been to over 200 restaurants to have town halls with our folks, and they appreciate it. So I would encourage all of us in the attraction business, keep communicating to our heart and soul, which are our team members, and they'll deliver that message to our guests.
Awesome, thank you. Fernando, last word.
Well, I think that, and I consider myself, very, very lucky person to be able to work in this industry. I believe this is a great, great industry. That when we get on to the other side, we will come even stronger. Circustrix, we have a fantastic and amazing group of people working for the company. They work very, very, very hard to keep the company, open, safe, to offer the right product to our customers. We are, again, a very innovative company, and my thing is that given the industry, the team, and if we are a little bit lucky with the pandemic, we'll be much stronger at the end. Because the demand is there. This is an industry that has been open for many, many, many years, working very well, and will be the same or even stronger. And again, as we all said, this is a very, very good opportunity for entertainment companies to come with new concepts, with new ideas, to improve the experience, and to offer something safe or safer to our employees first, and to our customers as well.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, guys. I can't thank you enough for sharing insights with the world. I know they value it. They value your time. We value your contribution to the industry and the communities that you guys operate in as well. And so thank you again for being here. Thanks everybody for watching, and hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Bob. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.